ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीज्ञवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna everyone, dear devotees. Welcome once again on our series of the Gajendra Stuti prayers and the pastime of Gajendra from the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are towards the end now. This is text 16 onwards of the 4th chapter of the 8th canto. We have, by Krishna's mercy, Srila Prabhupada's mercy, successfully read Srimad Bhagavatam. This whole episode, this whole pastime has been covered over a few days, and by the constant, auspicious, inspiring, motivating participation of the devotees world over, ISKCON Atlanta has been very instrumental in organizing this katha, and based on Srila Prabhupada's purports and the commentaries of the acharyas and the descriptions of Srila Shukdev Goswami, we have tried our bit to read, hear, speak, contemplate, and go deeper with real life principles and lessons. So now, this is text 16 onwards. The Supreme Lord Sri Hari is giving the Falashruti. He is giving the fruit of hearing this Gajendra Katha, and at the same time the benefit of hearing and chanting the prayers of Gajendra, the Gajendra Stuti. So I'll read from text 14. We'll just rewind a little and go from text 14. My dear King Parikshit, this is Srila Shukdev Goswami speaking. My dear King Parikshit, I have now described the wonderful power of Krishna as displayed when the Lord delivered the king of elephants. O best of the Kuru dynasty, those who hear this narration become fit to be promoted to the higher planetary systems. Simply because of hearing this narration, they gain a reputation as devotees. They are unaffected by the contamination of Kali Yuga, and they never see bad dreams. Therefore, after getting up from bed in the morning, those who desire their own welfare, especially the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and in particular the Brahmana Vaishnavas, should chant this narration as it is without deviation to counteract the troubles of bad dreams. O best of the Kuru dynasty, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, being thus pleased, addressed Gajendra in the presence of everyone there. He spoke the following blessings. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ye Mam Tvam Cha Saraschedam Giri Kandara Kananam Vetra Kichaka Venunam Gulmani Surapadapan Shringani Mani Drishnyani Brahmano me Shivasya cha Kshirodam me Priyam Dhama Shvetadvipam cha Bhaswaram Shrivatsam kaustubham malam gadam kaumudakim mama sudarshanam panchajanyam suparnam patageshwaram shesham cha matkalam sukshmam shriyam devim madashrayam brahmanam naradam rishim bhavam prahladameva cha matsya kurma varahadhyaihi avatarai kritani me karmanyananta punyani suryam somam hutashanam pranavam satyam avyaktam govipran dharmam avyayam dakshayanim dharmapatnihi soma kashyapayorapi gangam saraswatim nandam kalindim sitavaranam dhruvam brahmarshin sapta punyashlokamscha manavan utthaya pararatrante pratyata susamahitaah smaranti mama rupani muchyante te hamsa hokhilat. So, translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, freed from all sinful reactions are those who rise from bed at the end of night, which means early in the morning, and fully concentrate their minds with great attention upon my form. Your form, Gajendra, this lake, this mountain, the caves, the gardens, the cane plants, the bamboo plants, the celestial trees, the residential quarters of me, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, the 3 peaks of the Trikuta mountain made of gold, silver and iron, my very pleasing abode, the ocean of milk, the white island Shvetadvipa, which is always brilliant with spiritual rays, my mark of Shrivatsa, the Kaustuba gem, my Vaijayanti garland, my club, Kaumudaki, my Sudarshan disc and Panchajanya conch shell, my bearer Garuda, the king of birds, my bed Sheshanaga, my expansion of energy, the goddess of fortune, Lord Brahma, Narada Muni, Lord Shiva, Prahlada, my incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, my unlimited all auspicious activities which yield piety to he who hears them, the sun, the moon, fire, the mantra Omkar, the absolute truth, the total material energy, the cows and the brahmanas, devotional service, the wives of Soma and Kashyapa, who are all daughters of King Daksha, the rivers Ganga, Saraswati, Nanda and Yamuna or Kalindi, the elephant Airavata, Dhruva Maharaj, the 7 rishis, and the pious human beings. So anyone who wakes up in the morning, at the end of night, early in the morning, and focuses and concentrates on the details given in this pastime. This is why we spent a lot of time initially describing the trees and the Trikuta and the positioning and the milk ocean, etc. Sometimes we may think, why is Shukdev Goswami describing this in great detail, and why are we spending time discussing all this? It's because the fruit is at the end. The Supreme Lord says, anyone who meditates on this pastime with all the details, the happenings, the exact motions of the pastimes, such a person becomes freed from all sinful reactions. So it's very, very important that we chant the Gajendra Stuti early in the morning as soon as we wake up. There are other prayers also that we can chant early in the morning. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted a very beautiful prayer in front of Jagannath during the Rath Yatra. Jayati Jananivaso Devaki Janmavado Yaduvara Parishatsvair Dorvirasyanna Dharmam Stirachara Vrijinagna Susmita Shri Mukhena Vrajapura Vanitanam Vardhayan Kamadevam. So that is another verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita that we can chant early in the morning to clear the cobwebs of our bad dreams and our tamas. When we go to sleep, it's almost like we are dead because our mouth is stinking, our eyes are dirty, and body is dirty. We are still motionless for hours. So it's almost like we are partially dead. So now Krishna has woken us up. So it's almost like reincarnation in the same body. So my spiritual master Srila Guru Maharaj explains that every morning we should think it's a fresh birth. It's a new life that we have got here. It's a fresh beginning, and we should do bhajan every day, thinking that it's a new birth. Every night we are dying, and every morning we are appearing. So it's another body to do bhajan. And we see some days are sad and some days are happy. It's just like some species and some lives we have to go through more pain, and some lives we are more pleasure. So in that way, every morning we should think, Srila Guru Maharaj explains. So here, this is important that we chant Gajendra Stuti early in the morning, and prayers like Jayati Janani Vaso, etc. I know some devotees, some brahmacharis, who chant the whole Mukundamala Stotra, 52 verses, early in the morning before Mangalarati. They are absorbing themselves in chanting. So it's very important that we incorporate prarthana in our life. That is the essence of this whole discussion, that we should learn this art of praying to Krishna. Very important. Prayerful mood. Just like in japa also, 3 things are important, as His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj explains. The 3 P's. We should have the right posture in sitting, and the right pronunciation in calling out to Krishna, and the right prayerful mood. It's very important. These are the 3 things that we need. So Krishna is saying early in the morning is the time to pray. We have to offer lots of prayers. So Gajendra Stuti, some devotees have been sending messages and emails to say that they have been chanting Gajendra Stuti systematically every day. Our devotee from Sarasota, our dear devotee friend from Sarasota, Manmohan Prabhu, messaged me saying that he's been chanting it every day, and so many other devotees also. On an average, about 50 times this Gajendra Stuti has been, the audio has been played, and devotees are hearing it consistently. So it's very important that we put these prayers on priority, to chant the prayers of Gajendra. Very important, very, very sweet reciprocations we can feel from Krishna when we put them on priority. Okay, text 25, 26, the last 2 verses of the series. Ye mam stuvanti anenanga pratibuddhya nishatyaye tesham pranatyaye chaham dadami vipulam gatim. My dear devotee, unto those who rise from bed at the end of night and offer me the prayers offered by you, which is Gajendra Stuti, I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives. Look at that. We are just 28 verses short of going back home, back to Godhead. Every single day, 28 verses of Gajendra Stuti. And I am not saying it, Krishna is saying it. Tesham pranatyaye chaham dadami vipulam gatim. I give them vipulam gatim. I give them the eternal residence in Vaikuntha, Golok. Sri Shukha Uvacha. Iti adishya rishikesha pradmaya jalajottamam harshayan vibudhanikam aruroha khagadipam. Translation. Sri Shukdev Goswami continued, after giving this instruction, the Lord, who is known as Rishikesha, bugled with his Panchajanya conch shell, and in this way pleasing all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, he then mounted the back of his carrier Garuda. So along with this home back to Godhead, back to Vaikuntha, our very dear companion for so many days, Gajendra, he also went back home, back to Godhead. So now that we have successfully studied this section from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have an interesting discussion today for the next 40 minutes or so. I want to end this section with a very, very beautiful composition. In Kerala, there is a very beautiful place called Guruvayur, and Guruvayur, Srila Guru Maharaj explained once, is Gupta Vrindavan, is Vrindavan in a hidden form. So this Guruvayur in Kerala is the headquarters of Sri Krishna, who is worshipped in a very beautiful baby form. This form of Krishna, of course, there's a history behind this temple and this dham, this pilgrimage place. I wouldn't have time now to explain and go into the narration of the history, the inconceivably beautiful history of this deity. But this deity was certainly gifted by the Supreme Lord himself. And it's described that when Krishna departed from this world, this deity manifested and had to be installed in the most auspicious and sacred place. Of course, this deity was worshipped even when Krishna was on the planet, but what I'm saying is this deity became the whole and soul source of shelter in the physical absence of Sri Krishna. As Krishna wrapped up his pastime and went back to the spiritual world, this deity was the source of all shelter for the devotees. So this deity had to be installed, Sri Krishna in the form of this Vigraha had to be installed in the most purest place on earth. So Brihaspati was given this task because he's the spiritual master of Indra, he's Guru. But Brihaspati said, I know I can install the deity in the most auspicious, purified place on the basis of Shastra. But for that I have to travel all over the earth to find the most auspicious place. And for that I need the help of Pavandev or Vayudev, the wind god. So Brihaspati sat on the back of Vayudev, wind, and traveled all over the place and came to this place. And Lord Shiva was meditating in this place. There is a nice Rudra Tirtha. There is a place where Lord Shiva was meditating very beautifully. When Lord Shiva was offered obeisances by Brihaspati and mentioned that we want Sri Krishna to be installed in the most auspicious place on earth, and on the power of your meditation this place has become the most purest place, so we would like to offer this place to Krishna. So Lord Shiva immediately offered his seat and offered his dham to Lord Krishna, because this deity of Krishna, or let's say because this dham was found by the combination of Guru, Brihaspati, and Vayu, who was Pavandev, the wind god. This place was called Guru Vayur, the place of Guru and Vayu, the discovery of Guru and Vayu. And Krishna there is called Guru Vayur Appan, the Lord of Guru Vayur, like that. It's in Kerala. So there have been many beautiful hearted, devotional devotees, time immemorial. And about 500 years ago, there was a very great devotee there by the name Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri. His name was Narayana. And in fact, he was a disciple and student of Achyuta Pisharadi. Achyuta Pisharadi is very well known for his works in astronomy, astrology, and even mathematics like that. So Achyuta Pisharadi was the teacher for Narayana Bhattadri. So it's interesting that Achyuta Pisharadi was not just an astrologer, astronomer, mathematician, but he also had a very strong hold on Sanskrit Vyakarana, the grammatical study of the Sanskrit language. So nowadays when we talk about interdisciplinary study of integrating sciences over different streams of knowledge, it's not new. Even 500 years ago, in the 16th century, we see Achyuta Pisharadi having complete mastery over mathematics and mastery over astronomy and astrology and even Sanskrit grammar. So Narayana Bhattadri, Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri, being the student and the disciple of Achyuta Pisharadi, he inherited this property. But it's interesting that he studied Sanskrit Vyakarana under his guru, because Narayana Bhattadri, at least I have not come across his compositions in mathematics, in astronomy, astrology. In mathematics, of course, but in astrology and astronomy, I haven't. But very profuse contributions in mathematics and Sanskrit Vyakarana. Out of all his works, Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri's work on the very famous Narayaniyam is world famous and celebrated. So it's interesting that his name was Narayana and Krishna's name is Narayana. So the book that he wrote in impeccable, unmatched Sanskrit expression, his offering, he being Narayana Bhattadri, his offering to Sriman Narayana, the Supreme Lord, this mutual communication between the two Narayana, he called this composition as Narayaniyam. So it's interesting that this Narayaniyam is it's over 1,000 verses. It's really a masterpiece. More than 1,000 Sanskrit verses, and it has been expressed in the form of 100 dashakams, 100 So Dashakam means 10 verses, a set of 10 verses, and he's composed 100 such sets. So 100 sets of 10 verses each, and some Dashakams, of course, most of them have 10, some have 11, some have 12. So on an average, about 10 verses a Dashakam, and 100 such Dashakams. So that is over 1,000 verses. So what do they describe? It is the comprised composition, expression of the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam from Canto 1 to Canto 12 has been expressed in the form of Narayaniyam in a very concise, comprised expression. Every pastime is described in 10 verses. So Prahlad's pastime has been described. Kurma Dev's pastime has been described in 10 verses. Matsya Dev's pastime has been described in 10 verses. Ramachandra has been described. However, although Canto 1 to Canto 9 has been described in one Dashakam each, we see the 10th canto goes in great detail. Just like Shukadev Goswami gives a whole 10th canto to Krishna, similarly, you see Narayana Bhattadri, he starts off, it's interesting that he starts off the 10th canto, the appearance of Krishna, in Dashakam number 37. So first 36 Dashakams has been given to the first 9 cantos. And then from Dashakam 37 onwards, we can see all the way through Akrura's appearance and the Shamantaka Mani and Paundraka, the pastime of Sudama, all of this going up to the end, very end. We can see all the pastimes, Bhrigu Pariksha, Vrikasura, all of these kathas have been expressed up to Dashakam 90, etc. So Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri was a very great scholar and a very great devotee. And his work 500 years ago composed is even now glorified and sung in great detail in Kerala. And I, being from Kerala, I have very high affection and attraction to this work of Narayana Bhattadri. But it's interesting under what circumstances this was composed. Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri was studying under Achyuta Pisharadi, and Achyuta Pisharadi somehow mysteriously he got a paralytic stroke. So when Narayana Bhattadri, he finished his education from Achyuta Pisharadi, as Guru Dakshina, as an offering, an expression of gratitude to his Guru, he begged his Guru to give the paralytic stroke to him. So it is inconceivable what level of Guru Nishtha the disciples and the students have shown, that Achyuta Pisharadi, who was suffering from paralytic stroke, now that was very lovingly, in obedience and surrender and submission, taken to the body of the disciple Narayana. Narayana Bhattadri took this on his own, and the Guru recovered, and the disciple got paralyzed. Now when he wanted to know how to be free from this, he went to a Vaidya or a doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, do you have fish? Do you take fish?" Said, "No, I'm a Brahmana, I don't take fish." He said, "No, if you have to be cured of the illness, then you have to start with the fish." So Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri took it to heart that I have to start with the fish. But he had a mysterious plan. He started writing the Narayaniyam with the fish incarnation description, Matsya Avatar. So the doctor said, if you want to be free from the illness, start with the fish. So he decided, I want to be free from the illness of repeated birth and death. So he started with the fish, not eating fish, but he started his composition with the description of Matsya Avatar. And slowly but surely, he started writing. And it's described that every day he would come and sing in front of Guruvayurappan in Guruvayur. He would write a Dashakam a day. And Sri Hari, Sri Krishna, Guruvayurappan would keep hearing the composition. And at the end of the Dashakam, it's interesting that at the end of every verse, not the Dashakam, in the Dashakam there are 10, 11, 12 verses. So Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri would write a verse and sing that verse. And only after he heard an approval from the deity, typically it's described that Guruvayurappan as the deity would say, in approval. Only after Narayana Bhattadri would hear that, he would compose another verse. So in this way, his niyam, his vrat was he would compose a dashakam a day. One dashakam a day. So in this way, he composed the whole thing. He described the whole Bhagavatam. And there are many meters used here in the Narayaniyam. Very wonderful, complex Sanskrit meters have been used. So that shows not just his Sanskrit, erudition, but also the subject matter is par excellence. The descriptions are immaculate. So he was a very wonderful balance of great erudition, great scholastic aspect of him used in the expression of his inner devotional fervor. So after he composed 99 dashakams, he had decided, I will give 100 dashakams, which means 1,000 verses. But it so happened that in 99 dashakams, his composition was finished. He finished his description of the Bhagavatam. Now what to do? He had promised Krishna, I will compose one more dashakam, but the whole subject matter is done in 99. So how do I keep my vrat? Just like Bali Maharaj, he had promised 3, but in 2, Vamandev took everything. So Bali Maharaj, what did he do? He offered his head. Krishna, you have accepted everything from me, but you have not accepted me yet. So you please kindly accept me, like that. So here it was the other way. Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri promised 100, but in 99 he was done. Now what to do? So to keep his word, Sri Krishna appeared before him. And now the 100th Dashakam, Narayana Bhattadri composes that, my Lord, your form is so beautiful. Agre pashyami tejo nibidatara kalaya vali lobhaniyam piyusha plavitoham tadanu tadudare divya kaishora vesham tarunyaram bharamyam paramasukha rasa swada romanchitangaihi avitam naradadhyai vilasa upanishad sundari mandalaischa. That, my Lord, your form is so beautiful in a bluish black complexion. You look so beautiful with these colors, these flowers in your hair. You look like a flower bed, and the bumblebees of devotees are hovering around you, and such effulgence coming from your body, and you're so young and so attractive, and the fragrance of your body is so beautiful, and you're enthralling great sages like even Narada, whose hair are standing erect on the tip of their bodies with inebriating bliss, and you're being served by 108 servants in the form of Upanishad. So like that he glorifies the 100. So the Supreme Lord manifests so that Narayana Bhattadri can describe that form to us, and he can keep his word of the 100 Dashakams. So it's interesting, at the end of 100 Dashakams, Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri, he offers this Narayaniyam at the lotus feet of Guruvayurappan, and then he recovers from a paralytic stroke. So this is medically inconceivable. Without medicines, just by glorifying the Supreme Lord in more than 1,000 verses, how someone can be free from a paralytic stroke. But this is a true incident. It's famous, historically recorded, and the work is available in Sanskrit with translations in English and Hindi. So this is really marvelous expression of devotion. And this all happened when Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri was 27 years old. So by the age of 27, he who graduated from Achyuta Pisharadi's school, he got paralytic stroke, he wrote all this and got the darshan of the Supreme Lord and offered this at the age of 27. The Supreme Lord blessed him, not just freedom from the illness, but also a long life. It's interesting, when the Supreme Lord appeared in front of Narayana Bhattadri in a two-handed form, he told Narayana Bhattadri, I have 2 hands waiting to bless you. With one hand, I have the blessing that you can be free from your illness. And with another hand, I have this, you can pick one out of the two hands to touch you. Which hand should I touch you with? With one hand, I can free you from your illness. And with another hand, maybe the illness will remain, but this is my mercy from my side. So which hand should I touch you with? And Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri, with tears, he said, my Lord, you touch me with the hand which is your merciful hand. You don't have to purify me of my illness. You touch me with whatever you think is mercy from your side. I am not asking for being free from this illness. I am ready to live like this because this is an offering to my Gurudev. But you can do as you like. You touch me with the hand of mercy. Krishna was so touched that he touched him with the hand of mercy, and he not just cured him from the illness, but gave him a very long life. So after that also, Narayana Bhattadri lived more than 50-60 years. And he has composed many other works also. In fact, interestingly, the early works, the description of the chess game. Now, chess has become a world-renowned game, but it used to be called as the Chaturanga in India. That which has 4 sharp ends. You see the 4 ends of a chessboard. Chaturanga. So it's described. Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri has written an ashtakam called as the Chaturanga Ashtakam. Using Sanskrit word usage, he has described the mathematical movements of different pieces on a chessboard and all the rules of a chess game in 8 verses in impeccable Sanskrit usage. So even apart from devotion, you can see just like Rupa Goswami and the 6 Goswamis, they are devotionally so deep, and their scholarship in language, linguistic ability is so profound that their contributions can be appreciated even by someone who is an atheist, just on the basis of philosophy or linguistic contributions. So Narayana Bhattadri was also no exception. He was like that. Srila Guru Maharaj, when he came in touch with this history or this story, he was so fascinated that he almost made Guruvayur his second home, and every year he decided to visit Guruvayur. And he would go there for 1 month of stay. He would go to Kerala for his treatment and then stay in Guruvayur in seclusion doing bhajan and having darshan of Guruvayurappan every day. So he has a lot of attachment to that deity. And one time Srila Guru Maharaj also cried after coming out of the darshan. And the servant asked Srila Guru Maharaj, why are you crying? So he said that actually, ideally one should take sannyas only when one realizes that Krishna and the deity are non-different. Abhinna Swarup. Then Guru Maharaj said that somehow I took sannyas. And I always had this guilt in my heart that I have not realized that Krishna and the deity are non-different. But fortunately, by the mercy of Guruvayur Dham, that realization dawned in my heart today. That Krishna and this deity are non-different because that deity is so beautiful. So Srila Guru Maharaj was revealing a portion of his heart's experience. So whoever goes to his take darshan and say that I am South Indian, he will say, oh, are you from Kerala? I said, yes. So have you been to Guruvayur? Have you seen Guruvayurappan? Oh, isn't he so beautiful? So Srila Guru Maharaj takes off glorifying the deity and the dham. In fact, Srila Guru Maharaj was so attracted by Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri that he happened to go to Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri's, if I'm not wrong, to the hometown. And it was Srila Guru Maharaj who went to Kerala where they don't speak Hindi and started asking for this copy of Narayaniyam and started studying Narayaniyam. And more than 500 verses are memorized now because of his attachment. Srila Guru Maharaj has memorized more out of the list of 1,000 verses. And he keeps hearing this singing and this work. In fact, even in Juhu temple, ISKCON Juhu, in one of the classes, he said that the South Indians are aware of Narayaniyam, but everyone should know about it, etc. So, Srila Guru Maharaj is very attached to this work, and therefore I want to share that this work is also started taking more interest in this work. I want to offer my obeisances to Mohan Krishna Prabhu from Baltimore, because he went to serve Srila Guru Maharaj in Vrindavan for quite some time. And then during his seva, he happened to get the copy of Srila Guru Maharaj's book, Narayaniam book. And he was so kind enough to ship that book to me. So the book that I have in front of everyone here is actually the original book of Srila Guru Maharaj's study of the Narayaniam. So therefore, why am I saying all this? The cherry today, as we wrap up, I want to read Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri's version of the Gajendra Moksha. In 10 verses, he has described Gajendra Stuti and Gajendra Lila. So I want to wrap up this series by this very, very beautiful composition. So it's not, it may not be there in front of you in the form of words, but I request the devotees to kindly, patiently hear and hear the Sanskrit and hear the English explanation. Verse 1. Indradyumno Pandya Khandadi Raja Twadbhaktatma Chandanadrau Kadachit Twatsevayam Magnadhira Luloke Naivagastyam Praptamatitya Kamam. So what is he saying? Indradyumna, there was a king by the name Indradyumna. Who was he? Pandya Khanda Adhiraja. He was the king of the Pandya region, the southern part of India and the Pandya dynasty. And the interesting thing here in the Narayaniam is Narayana Bhattadri is not just describing the Bhagavatam. He is speaking the Bhagavatam Hare Katha to Guru Vairappan. So he is speaking to Krishna about what happened. It's almost like the devotee is narrating this Hare Katha to Krishna. So whenever we hear the word you, it's like Narayana Bhattadri is speaking to Krishna. So he says, Indradyumno Pandya Khandadi Raja. Indradyumna was the king, Adhiraja, of the Pandya Khanda, of the south region, Pandya Khanda, the Pandya dynasty in South India. And who was he? Tvad Bhaktatma. O Krishna, he was your devotee. And Chandanadrau Kadachit. He went to the Chandanadri, the Malayam mountains, to meditate. And at that time what happened? Tvat sevayam magna dhiralu loke. He was magna dhira. Dhira. He was so sober in his sense control, and magna. He was so absorbed in what? Tvat sevayam. Krishna, he was absorbed in your service. And at that time what happened? Na eva agastyam praptam atitya kamam. Agastya Muni came there, and atitya kamam. He had a desire of being welcomed as a guest. Na eva praptam. And he did not receive that. Then what happened? Verse 2. Kumbodbhute sambrita krodha bhara stabdatma tvam hasti bhuyam bhajeti shaptvatainam pratyagatsopi lebhe hastindra tvam tvatsmriti vyakti dhanyam. At that time, Kumbodbhuti. Kumbodbhuti is another name for Agastya Muni, because he appeared from a pot. Kumbha. Kumbha means pot. Udbhuti means appearance. So therefore, Agastya Muni is called Kumbodbhuti, or he is also called Kumbhaj Rishi. Ja means Janma, Kumbhaja. He who appeared from a kumbha or a pot. So Kumbodbhuti, Agastya Muni came there, and Sambhrita Krodha Bhara. He carried the weight of anger. Sambhrita Krodha Bhara. Somehow, by mysterious arrangement, your arrangement, my lord, by your mysterious arrangement, Agastya came there and he carried anger. And what happened? He spoke this word to King Indradyumna. What did he speak? Stabdatma tvam. You are stabda atma. You are a dull-headed person. Therefore, hasti bhuyam bhaja iti. Therefore, you become an elephant. Shaptva atha enam. Having been cursed like this, pratyagat sopi lebhe. He immediately, by the course of karma, lebhe, he received. Saha api, he, that Indradyumna, he received. What did he receive? Hastindratvam. He received the achieved or accepted or received the body. Hastindra, the body of the king of elephants. And tvat smriti vyakti dhanyam. O Krishna, tvat smriti. Your memory was somehow retained. He was endowed with this fortune, dhanya, of Tvat Smriti. How beautiful. Narayana Bhattadri is sitting in front of Krishna and he's telling him, Krishna, this is what happened. First there was a king called Indradyumna and Tvat Bhaktatma, he was your devotee. And Chandanadrau, he went to the mountains of the sandalwood trees, the Malaya trees. The Malaya mountain of the sandalwood trees. And Tvat Sevayam, he was in your service. And Magna Dhira Aluloke, he was not just sober, he was also absorbed. And Agastyam Atitya Kamam na eva praptam. Agastya came there with a desire that I will be received as a guest, na eva praptam, but he did not receive. Verse 2, he describes Kumbod Bhuti Sambrita Krodha Bhara. Kumbaj Rishi or Agastya came there with the weight of anger and he told King Indradyumna, Stabda Atma Tvam. You are such a dull-headed person. Hasti Bhuyam Bhaja Iti. You become, may you be born as an elephant. And Shaptva Atha Enam, hence being cursed. Pratyagat Saha Api Lebhe. He achieved Hastindratvam, he achieved the form, the appearance, the strength, the ability of the king of elephants. But Krishna, what happened? Tvat Smriti Vyakti Dhanyam. He was endowed with the fortune of remembering you. Tvat Smriti. Tvat Smriti means remembering you, or Tvat Smriti means to remember by your mercy. Verse 3. Dugdambodher madhyabhaji trikote क्रीडन शैले यूतपोयम वशाभि सर्वांजंतुन अत्यवर्तिष्ट शक्त्या त्वद्भक्तानां कुत्र नोत्कर्ष लाभः. Now Narayana Bhattadri, he is describing Krishna and his realization in a very beautiful way. He says, Dugdha ambode madhya bhaji trikote. Dugdha means milk. Ambodhi means ocean. Madhye, Bhaji Trikute. In the Trikuta mountains in the middle of the milk ocean, what happened? What was Gajendra doing? Kridan Shaile. He was playing Yutapa with all the groups of the herd of elephants. And Vashabhihi, he was also playing with she-elephants. Sarvan Jantun Atyavartishta Shaktya. And all the other species in that Trikuta mountain, they were afraid, Shaktya, of his strength. At the same time, they felt protected by his strength. Now, look at Narayana Bhattadri's last line. Tvad bhaktanam kutra notkarsha labha. My Lord, isn't it wonderful that even when you punish, you bring in the utkarsha labha, you put your devotee in the highest pedestal of fortune? This Gajendra has received a curse, but look, you have put him as the king of all strong elephants. He's enjoying in a Trikuta mountain in the middle. It's like an island in the middle of milk ocean, and he's playing with other male elephants, baby elephants and female elephants, and his strength is so prominently seen that others are scared of him and they feel secured and protected by him. My Lord, Tvad Bhaktanam, to your devotees, Kutra na utkarsha labha. Where is that situation where you don't give them an opportunity to excel? You curse them, you mysteriously curse them, but even in that curse, you have brought a situation where he is enjoying. Which of your devotees, they have not received or attained the most auspicious and superior status, irrespective of their origin, my Lord? Whether it is Hanuman, or whether it is Garuda, or whether it is Jatayu, or whether it is Gajendra. Tvad bhaktanam kutra na utkarsha labha. Narayana Bhattadri is telling Krishna that Tvad bhaktanam kutra na utkarsha labha. Utkarsha means success. And labha means profit or excel. So, kutra, na kutra. Where is that situation where you don't let your devotees excel and succeed even amidst a curse? So it's very, very beautiful like that. Verse number 4. Svenasthemna divya deshatva shaktya soyam khedan aprajanan kadachin shaila prante gharmatanta sarasyam yutai sardham tvat pranunno So in the fourth verse, what is he saying? Svena sthemna. we see the word Svena. Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Sandhimahi. First verse of Bhagavatam. So here Narayana Bhattacharya is saying, Svena Sthemna. Gajendra was self-sufficient. And Divya Deshatva Shaktya. He had a Divya Desha. He had a very nice place. So he was self-sufficient. He had a heavenly place to live in, very beautiful around. And Shaktya, he was endowed with so much strength. And Soyam Khedan Aprajanan Kadachit. And Kheda Aprajanan. He did not know any grief in that situation. Kadachit, ever. So it seems to be a curse or a blessing. King Indradyumna was living alone, and that too he was living in the Malaya hills, and he was getting the Supreme Lord through austerity. But here Gajendra is living as the king with his subjects. Their king had to give up his kingdom and go into the forest. But here, it seems to be a curse or a blessing that this king the elephant, he's living with his family, living with his friends, he's very strong, he's opulent, he's living in heaven, and he did not know any grief. And not just that, Shaila Prante, he's running around mountains which are so beautiful. But at that time, because of running around, Gharma Tanta Sarasyam Yutaihi Sardham Twat Pranuno Abhireme. Gharma, because of fatigue, because of sweat, what happened? Sarasyam, in a lake, Yutaihi Sardham, along with the group, he entered. He entered a lake to wash himself, to drink that water, along with his group. And Narayana Bhattacharya is telling Krishna, Twat pranuno bhireme. He went abhireme to play and relish and rejoice. But Twat pranunaha. He was inspired by you. So look at how beautifully in every verse Narayana Bhattacharya is having a conversation with Krishna. So at that time he was inspired by you to go into that lake. Text 5. Hustavad devalasyapi shapat grahi bhuta tajjale vartamanah jagrahainam hastinam padadeshe shantyartham hi kshanti dosi swakaman. Then now in text 5, Narayana Bhattacharya is describing the past life of the crocodile. Hu tavad, there, tavad, who is hu? Devalasyapi shapat. By the curse of Deval Rishi, grahi bhuta. He became a grahi, a crocodile, tad jale vartamanaha. He lived as a crocodile, tad jale, in that water. So hustavad, at that, in that place, devalasyapi shapat. By the curse of Deval Rishi, grahi bhuta, in the form of a crocodile, tajjale vartamanah, lived in that water of that pond. Jagrahainam, what happened? He immediately caught Hastinam padadeshe. Hastinam, elephant, padadesha, the area of the feet, the lotus feet. That grahi bhuta, that crocodile, Jagrahainam, he caught Hastinam Padadesha. He caught the lotus feet of Hastina. That is the elephant. Now look at Narayana Bhattacharya's remark to Krishna. Shantyartham hi kshanti dosi swakanam. Swakanam, to your own devotees, this is what you do. Narayana Bhattacharya is telling Guru Appan that this is my realization, my Lord. This is what you do. Swakanam, to your own devotees, Shantyartham, for eternal peace, he indeed, Kshantidah asi, you give some temporary suffering. So beautiful. My Lord, for eternal peace and eternal glory to your own devotees, you give some temporary pain. And this is what is happening here. Shantyartham hi, for eternal peace and glory, he indeed, Kshantidah asi swakanam, to your own devotees, you give some temporary dark tunnel phase of calamity. We always see this, all great devotees. In comparison to the glory and eternal peace that they have, the tunnel of uncertainty and calamity that they go through is insignificant. And that tunnel of gloomy insignificance, insignificance with respect to time, very significance as far as lessons learnt, that tunnel of their life brings in their glory even more. When they are put through that sugarcane juice machine, the sweetness of their devotion comes out even more. So therefore, this is Melpattur Narayana Bhattadri's realization. Shantyartham hi, for the sake of eternal peace and eternal glory to Swakanam, to your devotees, Kshantidosi Swakanam, you give temporary problem, and this is what is happening here. You're giving temporary catch, the feet of the crocodile by the jaws of the feet of the elephant by the jaws of the crocodile, to eternally glorify him in the future. Text 6. Tvatsevaya vaibhavad durnirodham yudhyantam tam vatsaranam sahasram prapte kale twatpadaika siddhai nakrakrantam hastivaryam vyadhastvam. Very beautiful. He's again continuing to speak to Krishna. Tvatsevaya vaibhavat durnirodham. Tvatsevaya, by his, because Gajendra served you in his past life, Tvatsevaya, by serving you, vaibhavat, he received such great opulence, durnirodham, which was not stopped irrespective of the body. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That although he was separated as being the king of the Pandya dynasty, and he was made the king of elephants, the bodies changed, circumstances changed, but Tvatsevaya, the credit that he received by serving you, that was not checked. And Yudhyantam tam, he was trying to fight hard with that crocodile. How long? Vatsaranam sahasram, for thousands of years. But then what happened? Prapte kale, at the right time, Tvatpada ekagra siddhai, at the right time, he was invoked in his heart by you to do what? Tvatpada eka agraya siddhai. Very beautiful. Tvatpada, your feet, eka, as only shelter, agra, which means to beg, siddhai, with perfection. Prapte kale, at the right time, tvatpadaika agra siddhai. He called out with perfection of helpless surrender as one pointed spirit to your lotus feet. And as a result, what happened? Nakra krantam hastivaryam vyadhastvam. At that time, it's Narayana Bhattadri has written it very beautifully. Nakra means crocodile, akrantam, attack. He said, he's telling Krishna that your plan is so inconceivable. This elephant, he was your devotee. He is your devotee. He worshipped you. But in this life, he forgot. So he was living in Vaibhava. He was living in Aishwarya. But when you wanted him to surrender back to you, Nakra Krantam, you inconceivably made arrangement for a crocodile to hold his feet. And Hasti Varyam, the best among elephants, was got down to his knees. Prapte Kale, at the right time. Only because you wanted Tvat Padaika Agre Siddhai. You wanted him to be perfect in helpless, desperate call towards your lotus feet, and only your lotus feet. Ekagra siddhai. One pointed. Then what happened? 7th verse. You see, 6 verses are done. Now 7th verse. Arti vyakta praktana jnana bhaktihi shundot kshiptai pundari kai samarchan purvabhyastam nirvisheshatmanishtham stotra shreshtham sonvagadhit paratman. Arthi Vyakta. At that time, with Arthi Vyakta Praktana Jnana Bhakti. Very beautiful. He says, in the past life, whatever Jnana and Bhakti that he had, this is a very interesting point actually. Very, very interesting. Narayana Bhattadri is saying, Arthi Vyakta Praktana Jnana Bhakti. That whatever Jnana and Bhakti was amassed by Gajendra in his heart, whatever transcendental knowledge he had amassed, whatever Bhakti he had amassed, all of that took the form of this helpless call. Just think about it, dear devotees. So deep. Arthi Vyakta Praktana Jnana Bhakti. All the learning of King Indradyumna, all the worship of King Indradyumna that he had worshipped in his past life, they all took a form. All of them, all that bhajan took a form of this helpless call. Which means helpless calling out to Krishna is the ultimate conclusion, is the ultimate essence, the ultimate perfection, the ultimate fulfillment of all that we know and all that we practice. So that crocodile was the tipping point for Gajendra's heart to explode, and all of his learning and calling out and learning and devotion to explode in the right direction. And at that time, what did he do? Narayana Bhattadri says, Shundot kshiptaihi, with his shunda, with his trunk, utkshiptaihi, he uprooted. What did he uproot? Pundarikai samarchan, he uprooted a lotus to worship you. In that situation, with his trunk, for an elephant, the trunk is considered to be the hand. Therefore, he is called hati, or hasti. Hasta or hath means hand. So an elephant doesn't have hand, but his trunk is considered to be the hand. So here, Shunda utkshiptaihi pundarikai samarchan. He uprooted a lotus with his hand in the form of the trunk and offered it to you with tears. And how did this happen? And what did he say with that? Narayana Bhattadri says, Purva abhyastam nirvisheshatmanishtam. Purva abhyas, because of previously studying and practicing this past life, he could nirvishesha atmanishtam. He could call out atmanishtha with complete surrender. But however, nirvishesha, he was not remembering the name. Just like the Bhagavatam describes. Nirvishesha atmanishtam. So nirvishesha doesn't mean formless. It means he's glorifying the qualities, but he's not remembering the name. So next time when it happens in our interactions with devotees that we say, what's the name of that devotee? He comes for our class also. Very nice devotee. He's very tall and he's very good at cooking. So when you have these descriptions but we don't remember the name, we should remember the case of Gajendra. This is what was happening to Gajendra. That he was nirvisheshatmanishtam. He was remembering the qualities but not the name. And as a result, Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri says, Stotra Sreshtham, very great stotra. Sa Anu Agadit Paratman. He sang loudly. Stotra Sreshtham, a very great prayer. Very great prayer. Sreshta means high class. Stotra comes from the root word stu, which means stuti, to praise. So Stotram Sreshtham. Sa Anu Agadit Paratman, to that great Lord, Paratman, all-knowing Lord, all great, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Lord, Stotra Sreshtham, through a very high-class poetic composition, Gajendra called out repeatedly, Anu. Now look at text 8. Shrutva stotram nirgunastam samastam brahme shadai nahamitya prayate sarvatma tvam bhurikarunya vegat tarksharuda prekshito bhupurastat. Here he is describing the reaction of the demon as described in the Bhagavatam. What is he saying? Shrutva stotram, hearing this prayer, nirgunastam samastam, all the demigods understood. Oh, that Lord has been described who's nirguna. Nirguna means he who has no material qualities. We all have material qualities, said the demigods. But he is calling out to that person who has transcendental qualities. Shrutva stotram, hearing this prayer, nirgunastam samastam, that all the glories have been directed towards the transcendental Lord. What did the demigods do? Brahmeshadaihi. Brahma, Isha, Adhyaihi. So Brahma means Brahma, Isha means Lord Shiva, Adhyaihi, etc. What did they say? Na aham iti. Oh, this is not me. He is not calling out to me. Na aham iti aprayate. Therefore, I don't have to go. How wonderful. Shrutva stotram nirgunastam samastam brahmeshadhyaihi nahamitya prayate. Brahma, Shiva and other demigods, they were saying, na aham, this is not me. He is not glorifying me. He is not calling out to me. Iti aprayate, therefore I don't have to go. And when they were discussing this and saying, should I go, shouldn't I go, I don't think I should go. He is not calling out to me. I don't have to go. I don't want to go, etc., etc. At that time, Narayana Bhattadri says, Sarvatma Tvam, O Krishna, because he's speaking to the deity. So conversation, he's describing this Hare Katha to the deity. At that time, he's telling the deity, he's telling Guru Vairappan, he's telling Krishna, Sarvatma Tvam, you are super soul, Sarvatma, living in everyone's heart. And Bhuri Karunya Vegat, Bhuri, unlimited, Karunya, mercy, Vegat, with speed. You filled with so much mercy and so much karuna, bhuri karuna, just like Gajendra says, madrik prapanna pashupashanaya muktaya bhuri karunaya namolayaya swam shena sarvatanubhrit manasi pratita pratyak drishe bhagavate brihate namaste. So here, Sarvatmatvam, oh Krishna, you are the super soul. And what did you do? Bhuri karunya vegat, with so much mercy in your heart, vegat, with speed, tarksha aruda. So tarksha is another name for Garuda. Aruda. Sitting on back of that Garuda, what did you do? Prekshita bhu purastat. You appeared there in front of Gajendra, Prekshita, so that everyone can see. How wonderful. Shrutva stotram nirgunastam samastam brahmeshadhyai nahamitya prayate sarvatmatvam bhuri karunya vegat tarksharudha prekshito bhu purastat. When all the demigods were thinking, na aham iti, it's not me, he's not glorifying me, he's not glorifying me. At that time, Krishna, sarvatmatvam, you being the super soul, bhuri karunya vegat, with so much mercy, you flew there so fast, tarksharudha, sitting on back of Garuda, Prekshito bhu purastad, in front of Gajendra, that everyone could see that you have appeared. Now text 9. Hastindram tam hastapadmena dhritva chakrena tvam nakravaryam vyadari gandharvesmin muktashape sahasti tvatsarupyam prapya dedipyate sma. Very wonderful. In 9th verse, Narayana Bhattadri says, Hastindram tam, that best among elephants, Gajendra, Hasta Padmena Dhritva. What did you do, my lord? With one hand, you accepted his lotus flower and promised him, from today I will keep this lotus flower with me all the time. So, you are promising Gajendra that from today, I have Shankha, Chakra, Gada, but I will also take Padma in my hand. Gajendra, you have offered this lotus to me. I will make it one of my ornaments on my body. So, Hastindram tam, Hasta Padmena Dhritva. What did you do? With one hand, you accepted his lotus, but Krishna does ye yathamam prapadyate. He reciprocates. So, look at Narayana Bhattadri's poetry. He says, with one hand, Krishna accepted the lotus offered by Gajendra, and with another hand, he offered the lotus of his hand on the head of Gajendra. He is reciprocating. The Supreme Lord has 4 hands. So with one hand, he is accepting the lotus of Gajendra. And with another hand, he is extending the lotus of his hand. And placing it on the head of Gajendra. So which is a bigger lotus? The lotus of Trikuta or the lotus of Krishna's hand? Which means his lotus hand. Lotus palm was placed. His lotus palm is more glorious. So this, Narayana Bhattadri is saying that this should convince a devotee that even if I offer him a lotus of this world, he is ready to place his lotus hand on my head. So in devotion, we will always be at profit. The input is minimum and the output is unbelievable. By offering the lotus of Trikuta, Gajendra got the lotus hand of Vishnu on his head. So here that is what Narayana Bhattadri is saying. He's saying, Hastindram tam hastapadmena dhritva chakrena tvam nakravaryam vyadari. Krishna, you are reciprocating equally. Because Gajendra offered you lotus, you offered him the lotus of your hand, which means your lotus hand. And because crocodile was cutting through your devotee, you cut through the body of the crocodile. So you're doing ye yathamam prapadyante. So you released the crocodile and you accepted and pulled Gajendra with your hand. And then what did you do? Gandharvesmin muktashape sahasti. Gandharve asmin muktashape. You cleared off the curse of Devala Rishi on the crocodile. And Gandharve asmin. You made him a Gandharva and you sent him to Gandharva Loka. And sahasti, how about the elephant? Tvatsarupyam prapya dedipyate sma. And everyone saw that sahasti, that Gajendra, tvat sarupyam prapya. Your form that was just like you. Tvat sarupyam. So you can see there is, in Mayavad they say he became you. But here, tvat sarupyam prapya. Your sarupyam mukti, the form like your form, was achieved by the elephant. So in 9 verses the story is done. Now look at the 10th verse. So beautiful. Etadvrittam tvam cha mam cha prageyo gayet soyam bhuyase shreyase syat ityuktvainam tena sardham gatastvam dhishnyam vishnu pahi vatalayesha. In the 10th verse, the Supreme Lord is telling Gajendra. Vishnu is telling Gajendra. Etadvrittam, this story, this incident, Tvam cha mam cha prageye, glorifying your call and glorifying my kripa on you. Gayet soyam bhuyase shreyase syat. Gayet, anyone who sings this narration of Gajendra Stuti, sa ayam, that devotee, bhuyase, he will become shreyase syat, he will become very great devotee. So the Supreme Lord is telling Gajendra, Etadvrittam tvam cha mam cha prageyo. This story glorifying your call and my instant reciprocation. Gayet soyam. Any devotee who sings this, bhuyase shreyase syat, he will become very great as a devotee. Ityuktvainam. Having said this, tena sardham gatastvam. Krishna along with Gajendra in Vishnu form, Vishnu Duta form, Tena Sardham, along with him, Gatastvam. Vishnu, he left. Where did he go? Dhishnyam. He went to his eternal abode. Tasmad bhavantam anavadhyam anantaparam sarvajñam ishwaram akuntha vikuntha dhishnyam nirvinnadhi ahamhe vrijinabhitapto narayana narasakha sharanam prapadhye. Very beautiful. Uddhava is chanting, Canto 11, chapter 7, text 18. He says Dhishnyam there, that your abode, your spotless Vaikuntha abode. So here Patur Narayana Bhattadri has used the same word, Dhishnyam. Iti uktvainam tena sardham gatastvam Dhishnyam. Having said this, Vishnu took Gajendra in the Vishnu Duta form on back of Garuda and left to the eternal abode. And now Narayana Bhattadri is praying to his deity, Vishnoho pahi vatalayesha. Oh, vatalayesha. Such a beautiful call. Because the Lord is Guruvayurappan, the Lord of Guruvayur. So here Vata. Vata means Vayu, wind god. And Alaya means home. So Isha means Lord. Vatalayesha. O Krishna, who is the Lord of the abode of Vata or Vayu, which means Guruvayur. The Lord of Guruvayur, like that. Vishnu ho pahi. Oh, please protect me also. Just like, so it's interesting. Gajendra was caught by the crocodile, but he prayed to Krishna not just to be free from crocodile, but to be free from crocodile of repeated birth and death. Similarly, here Melpatur Narayana Bhattadri is praying, my Lord, the crocodile of paralytic stroke has caught me. Instead of being free from that, you kindly free me from the crocodile of repeated birth and death. Give me your lotus feet. Give me your Nitya Seva, eternal service. So in this way, how beautifully this whole section of Gajendra Stuti has been described in 10 verses by Sripad Narayana Bhattadri. So having said that, very sadly, I was looking forward every single day for a series of classes here. But as we know, everything in this material world which has a beginning has an end. So with a very heavy heart, I have to say that today we wrap up our series. The count goes up to, I think, 44 classes. 44 classes. And they have been very wonderfully documented, or the recordings have very well been documented or maintained in a gallery by His Grace Hare Prabhu from Columbus, ISKCON Columbus. For those who would like to access that, there is a ISKCON Columbus SoundCloud access. You can type SoundCloud app, soundcloudwebsite.com, ISKCON Columbus. All these 44 sessions, along with the first session, which is the chanting of the Gajendra Stuti, have all been uploaded. Of course, till last night's been uploaded. This will also be uploaded by tonight by Hare Prabhu. He has been doing this sincere, tireless service. So I want to offer my gratitude to Hare Prabhu. My obeisances and gratitude to ISKCON Atlanta for very kindly arranging this, facilitating this very beautiful engagement for me during the coronavirus lockdown. When in the future I look back and I think of the coronavirus lockdown, I will definitely remember the Gajendra Stuti discussions. I want to thank ISKCON Atlanta for kindly coming up with this very wonderful plan of engaging me so that I can engage my restless mind in hearing, reading, chanting, and sharing Hare Katha for my own benefit. I want to express very special gratitude to His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, who was facilitating through the Facebook live option, to Her Grace Radha Bhava Mataji, the very respected wife, noble wife of Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, who was the one who came up with this topic of Gajendra Stuti. When ISKCON Atlanta, His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, they were mentioning about these sessions, I was thinking of what topic should it be, but it was Radha Bhava Mataji who mentioned Gajendra Stuti, and I certainly remembered Srila Guru Maharaj for his instruction to me that Gajendra Stuti is the king of prayers in the Bhagavatam. So I felt this is a very wonderful way I can fulfill his instruction. I want to offer my obeisances to all the devotees who have been joining in across continents. Every single day we see devotees consistently attending, way over 80 devotees attending on an average every day, sometimes 100 and sometimes 120, sometimes even 140 devotees attending. So it's not a joke to attend every single day. So we are very, very thankful. If devotees were not joining in, we wouldn't feel so inspired, because I don't have the taste. Like Saraswati Thakur describes that we should be able to close all doors and sit between four walls and speak Krishna Katha. I don't have that taste. But when I see so many devotees are joining in and looking forward to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, then that is like a inner motivation for me to prepare and try my bit to share and serve the devotees. So I really want to I want to prostrate myself individually to all of you. Please imagine me to be on the floor offering obeisances in front of you, holding your feet, just with one very heartfelt request. Please kindly pray for us that we are able to serve Srila Prabhupada year after year, in fact, hour after hour, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, lifetime after lifetime. Srila Prabhupada has given all this. Otherwise, for us to say the story of Gajendra is only about 5 minutes. But Srila Prabhupada has opened up these doors of such beautiful, beautiful translations from Sanskrit language with such detailed purports, and opening us to the doors of so many commentaries, giving us this chance. So I want to offer my obeisances to all of you for kindly participating and motivating us. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, who painstakingly wrote the 8th canto and gave this Gajendra Stuti, not just to save Gajendra from the crocodile bite of the crocodile, but to save us ultimately as Gajendras. We are actually small ants, but we are thinking we are Gajendras, king among elephants. But to be free from the jaws of the crocodile of death and repeated birth and death and forgetfulness of Krishna, Prabhupada painstakingly in his old age wrote these purports. So we want to offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and all the predecessor acharyas who have commented on this section, who have given their lives, invaluable human lives, speaking on this section. I want to offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, who has spent close to 5 decades, 50 years, speaking on many, many sweet topics of the Srimad Bhagavatam, including Gajendra Stuti that Srila Guru Maharaj did in New Jersey many, many years ago. So this is I'm taking the Ganga water of Gajendra Stuti and giving it back to the source of Ganga, Srila Guru Maharaj, who has given and who continues to give me so much in my life. I offer my obeisances to all the senior Prabhupada disciples who have spoken on this section, and by whose classes I got inspiration to speak different angles. I personally got so much insight on these verses, these poetic verses of Shukdev Goswami. I don't know any Sanskrit. I have never studied Sanskrit in my life except for just a couple of years in school. I don't know any Vyakarana. I don't know anything in Sanskrit language. I am totally illiterate. But on the basis of whatever senior Prabhupada disciples have spoken, whom I have named again and again in this series, whenever we borrow a colorful feather from their hat of realization, we give the acknowledgement, because it is the boiling of their heart. It is the helpless, desperate calling from their heart, which is boiling up and giving up to the brim all these wonderful realizations. I offer my obeisances to all of them. Last but not the least, I offer my obeisances to my very wonderful parents who introduced me to this story when I was very young in my life. And even now, that story is very fresh. So I feel Krishna has been very kind to give nice Krishna conscious parents. So if my brother Arjun Sakha Prabhu and myself, if we don't take complete advantage of this life and give our lives to Srila Prabhupada with surrender, then what is the use of getting such gifts in life? We should not waste. Krishna has given wonderful parents. Krishna has given wonderful ISKCON organization. Krishna has given very wonderful spiritual masters and nice assembly of Vaishnavas, nice books to study, nice classes to hear, nice temples to practice, nice deities to seek inspiration from. So we have everything picture perfect in our life. So now we have to just put these pieces together and be very sincere on the path of our bhakti and go deeper and deeper and deeper on the path of bhakti. So having said that, I want to wrap up this series. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I once again offer my obeisances to each one of you before you log off. If there were any points of inspiration and some principles which resonated with your heart, in your heart, then please kindly offer all of that credit to our Guru Parampara, but offer all your prayers and blessings to me. Please bless me. My brother Arjun Sakha Prabhu has also been very, very instrumental in sharing such sweet points with me over the phone. So even yesterday, he shared one very nice set of verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I encourage the devotees, that is the take-home homework for everyone. Canto 10, Chapter 80, Text 3 and 4. Those are the two verses which speak about the function of all our senses. And His Grace Arjun Sakha Prabhu, my very nice, sweet brother, he shared these verses. I had never heard these verses from the Bhagavatam before, but he opened them to me. So I'm very grateful to his support. When you have a nice supporting brother, bhakti becomes more joyful to perform with. So please everyone, forgive me for any mistakes made during these sessions, and please don't forget to offer your protection, your prayers, your best wishes, your blessings. I don't want to waste this human form of life. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Radha Madan Mohan Dev ki Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shri Jagannath, Shri Baladev, Shri Subhadra, Shri Sudarshan Ju ki Jai, ISKCON Guru Vrind ki Jai, संस्थापक आचार्य भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि भक्त वृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल.